Hey there folks, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to check out Reshade, and what Reshade is, it's a post-processing layer. So what it does, the sim, renders your game as it normally does, and what Reshade does is it sort of post-processes each frame after it's been rendered by the sim and your GPU, and it can change how it looks. It can give it a different feel, a different color, a different kind of vibe. Not too dissimilar to what we've seen with the NVIDIA filters on other videos we've done on the channel, but I've never actually checked out Reshade, so I wanted to check it out today, take you guys along for the ride, and see what we think of it. So once you're at the website, come down to the bottom and you can download Reshade, currently on version 6.1.1. That's what we'll be dealing with today, and get it installed. Okay, so once you've got Reshade downloaded, this is what you're going to be presented with when you run the installer. And basically what this is doing is it scanned my computer for a list of all the stuff that I've got installed. So we want to come down to F for Flight Sim, click on it, and then you get presented with an option. You get to select your rendering APIs. Of course, we're going to choose DirectX 10, 11, 12. Interestingly, prior to filming this, I went ahead and left OpenXR ticked, and I just couldn't get Reshade to work afterwards. So I unticked this, hit next. I checked all of these extras here just because, and next, and it will download them all and install for you. And there we go, job done. So this hasn't really installed an application on our computer as such. What it's done is it's put a load of Reshade bits and pieces in our Microsoft Flight Simulator installation folder, and that's how it works. It's not like there's now a Reshade app that you can launch from the start menu. It works a little bit differently than that, but we're all done now, and we can start looking at installing some profiles and getting into the sim and checking it out. So installing Reshade is only really one part of the equation. The other part is we need to feed Reshade some settings in order for it to start making our sim, hopefully, look a lot better. The trouble is it's kind of complex stuff. This is the kind of thing where you could probably spend 5 hours tweaking levers and settings and dials and switches and be no further forward at the end of it. So what you can do, head over to flightsim.to. They've got a page dedicated to this, of Reshade presets. So we can choose from all of these presets here, download them, feed them into Reshade, and start experimenting. What we can do, if we filter by best rated, which is what we've done here, these are in kind of order of what the community think they're like. So what we're going to do, we're going to give Reshade a try. We're going to go with the numbers, go with what people think is the best one, which appears to be Reshade here. Install it and see what we think. Then we can kind of compare and contrast to what we've been able to achieve with NVIDIA filters in the past, and go from there. Okay, so what we've got here on the left is the Reshade that we downloaded from flightsim.to, and what we need to do is find our Flight Simulator installation folder. Now on Steam, that's nice and easy to do. Obviously, if you're on the Microsoft Store, I'm going to struggle to show you exactly what to do, but don't worry. Go to the Reshade page on flightsim.to, and all the instructions in the description are in the context of the Microsoft Store / Game Pass version. So, for Steam though, right-click on Flight Simulator, Properties, go to Installed Files, and then click Browse. And there we are. So you can see there's a load of Reshade stuff here already. I'm going to show you what to do. All you need to do is take this Reshade v1 ini file, copy, and then paste it into this folder. I've obviously already got it in there, that's fine. Then what you need to do is find the Reshade shaders folder. Go into the Reshade shaders folder in what you downloaded from flightsim.to. Then you need to go into the shaders and textures file for each one and just sort of copy the contents across. So we'll go shaders, take these, drag them across, and we'll replace them. Obviously, they're already in there because I've got it installed already. And then textures, same thing again. Just copy these two LUTs, drag them over. It's going to say they're already in there because I've got it installed already. And we're done for now. Okay, so we are now loaded into the sim. We're at Manchester Airport, and what I wanted to do was take a look, do a bit of before and afters. We're going to try some different angles, different times of day, different weather conditions, just to give it a good run for its money. So what you're currently looking at now is the default out-of-the-box experience with the Sims. So what we need to do to get things started is press the home key on your keyboard, which will load up the menu from Reshade. Now, don't be alarmed by all of these red errors. What that is, we are testing out the Reshade profile from flightsim.to. What I did was I found a few other profiles and installed them, but they didn't play so nice, and as a result, we've got all these errors. So ignore them. They're not relevant. We're just going to focus on the Reshade profile for this video anyway. So what you need to do is up here you've got this drop down, and you just need to make sure that you've got Realshade V1 Ini selected. We already have. We'll do it again for good measure. That's fine. And the other thing you might want to do is pop into the settings tab. By default, you've got the overlay key set to the home key on your keyboard. So that's how you bring up this overlay, by pressing the home button on your keyboard. What didn't come by default was the effect toggle key. So I've actually mapped this to my page up key, which is really handy. So when we close this overlay, we can just hit the page up key and it will toggle the effect on, off, on, off, on, off. And we can just quickly see whether we like what we're seeing. So it's super handy. Okay, so we can now close this overlay. You can see that we've got Technicolor 2, Apply LUT and Tone Map also ticked here as well. That's part of the profile. In the description of the profile on flightsim.to, it says to make sure that these are applied as well to get the full effect of what the developer wants. So let's press the home key on the keyboard to get rid of this overlay. And if we press the page up button, that now triggers the reshade. So that's on and off. On and off. First impressions? I'm not entirely convinced. It seems that I almost prefer that. It almost seems a little bit washed out, a little bit not quite right, a little bit fake looking. That to me looks better. Okay, let's try something else. Let's press the home button, bring up our menu here, because of course we've got tone mapping, we've got this LUT, we've also got Technicolor. So I'm just wondering if there's any levers we can pull in here to maybe tweak our experience. Keep in mind that your monitor may be calibrated differently as well, so what doesn't look great on mine might look better on yours. So keep that in mind, and also keep in mind that you're watching this on a YouTube video which has gone through all of YouTube's compression algorithms, which is going to affect the color profile somewhat in any case. So let's, I don't know, should we take off Technicolor? Oh, that's better. So that's Technicolor on, Technicolor off. Yeah, Technicolor off. That's the way to go. What about the LUT? So we'll put Technicolor back on. What's the LUT doing? Okay, I like the LUT. The LUT is good. Without the LUT, it looks a little bit like we're in the Matrix. It looks a bit greeny, yellowy, doesn't it? The LUT kind of brings it back to a more neutral color palette. What about the tone mapping? Yeah, tone mapping's doing I like what the tone mapping's doing as well. That's good. Okay, so Technicolor. It seems what I don't like about this is the Technicolor aspect. Wow, yeah, that looks good. That looks good. That looks cinematic. Nice. Okay, so let's press the home button to get out of here. So now we can do some comparisons with default and our new modified version of this profile. So this is with it all on. That's off. On. Off. Ah, yeah, it looks so much better with it on. That looks so much better. Yeah, getting rid of that Technicolor's really, really done a lot for me. I mean, that looks awesome. That looks absolutely awesome. Okay, so one thing actually that I wanted to make sure of was that the cockpit didn't look too weird. It seems like it hasn't actually. It looks really nice. That looks absolutely fine to me. Nothing looks too blown out or washed out or too like one direction. It doesn't look too green. It doesn't look too red, because that can sometimes be the case with overlay filters. Just looking at the PFD there, the ND, and of course the all the autopilot controls. That looks pretty good. So this is with it all on, of course. This is with Reshade on. Let's just try it with it off. Huh. Yeah, it looks so much better with it on, doesn't it? Got this weird sort of greeny, yellowy vibe with it off. Looks so much nicer with it on. So first impressions, having turned off that Technicolor filter, I think that's just like really brought this to life. Look at it. Look at this like metal on the jetway sort of structure there. So that's off, on, off, on. That is cool. I think this surpasses anything I've been able to achieve with the NVIDIA overlays. I know we did a video recently about the NVIDIA AI overlays. And while I did like the kind of set it and forget it approach of that, I don't think the visual quality lived up to this. And of course, this being a profile that you can download from flightsim.to is kind of a set it and forget it approach as well. So I do like that about it a lot. Very nice. Okay, let's go for a taxi around and see what we can see. Okay, so now we've pushed back and we are looking ahead at the terminal building there. This is with the Reshade profile off. And this is with it on. That's off. And on. Yeah, I'm really liking this. Without that Technicolor pack, really liking it a lot. So Reshade pack is now currently off, looking out of the window, and we'll turn it on. I really like that a lot. I do like that. And off. And back on again. And off. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Like, this is all subjective. This is the thing, it's also very subjective. I do like quite a contrasty kind of image, and I'm getting those vibes from this, definitely. But it doesn't seem to be at the expense of much else. Sometimes when you crank the contrast too much, it like makes everything else look weird, but this looks really nice. I do like it a lot. Just out of interest, if we turn Technicolor back on, what do we get? Yeah, see, I don't like that at all. Don't like that at all. That looks so much better to me. So much better. Very nice. Yeah, leave a comment. If you're a Reshade user, let us know what you're using. What have you ended up with? Because everyone's going to come down differently on this. There isn't, I don't know, there probably isn't a right or wrong answer. It's really, what do you like? And what do you think looks good? I'm in a bit of a different situation because, of course, I make content and I stream, so I kind of do need to consider what everybody likes. But if it's just you at home simming for yourself, you've got that freedom to choose whatever it is you like most. Question is, how does it look at night time? Let's try some different times of day. So what are we at now? 12:07. So if I crank the time forward to... Yeah, let's get a sunset. Let's try it with a sunset. So this is with it off. Now, you could argue that a sort of yellowy greeny vibe might quite work very well at sunset. So it might be that Reshade doesn't look quite so good in this scenario. Let's find out. So this is with Reshade off. And that's with it on. Oh, actually, I do prefer it with it on. Off and on. That's really nice. That's really nice. Try a slightly different angle looking away from the sun. So that is with it on. And that's with it off. It's on and off. So if we look directly at the sun, that's with it on. That's with it off. On. And off. Yeah, I'm definitely going on. 100% on. Okay, let's take us into nighttime, because a lot of these effects can kind of fall apart when we sort of deal with complete darkness and we're using a lot of the lights and things at the airport. So let's take us into complete darkness. So about 10:30 at night. That's fine. You can see effects are disabled. So this is with the out-of-the-box state at the moment. What happens if we turn it on? Does it look weird? I think that's okay. I think that's okay. Let's jump into the cockpit. That's another good way to tell, because obviously an outside view only shows you so much. Okay, so this is with the default settings, and we can prove that by pressing the home button, and it comes up here saying effects are disabled. Press page up to enable them again. So we know this is the out-of-the-box settings. So what's it going to look like if we press the button to turn on Reshade? Let's find out. Okay, so quite a bit darker. We're losing quite a lot of... losing a little bit of visibility, just sort of looking at the paving slabs there. They are starting to become a little bit more obscured. But what I find most annoying, or have found most annoying in the past actually, is the lighting in an airport. And that doesn't seem to be affected hardly at all. We can still see where we need to see thanks to the lights. So this is off and this is on. So Reshade off, Reshade on. So if we needed to taxi to a gate, we can still see all the lights. They all look fine. They're not too blown out. I found with the NVIDIA filters, when you line up on a runway at night, that can be an absolute nightmare because all the lights were just so blown out. It just wasn't factoring that in, unfortunately. So I think the next thing to do is actually to taxi ourselves to the runway and see how things look when we get sort of like, you know, start lining up and you look down the runway, you've got all those lights ahead of you, the pappies, etc. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll catch up with you in a moment. Okay, so we're just almost on the runway here. I thought I'd just stop before we turn onto the runway, just so where we're sort of at that point where you can look down the runway and see all the lights. This is with Reshade disabled, and if we enable it, notice, yeah, everything gets a little bit darker, a bit deeper, but the lights remain completely fine. Nothing's getting too blown out or washed out. So one of my biggest fears is that it wouldn't work at night time. Seems to be working quite nicely. I could work with this 100%. 100%. So there we have it, folks. I would say that was a pretty good success. Obviously, it works well at night time, which was kind of my biggest reservation coming into this. And yeah, the before and after, again, this is with it off and this is with Reshade on. I just love it with it on. It just looks so much more cinematic, I think is the word. I really like it. I do really like it a lot. And it's weird because had we gone with the default setup with Technicolor enabled, I really don't like that at all. So that's with it on. I would almost say having it off looks better than that. I do not like that at all, but take Technicolor off and all of a sudden we've got something really, really nice. Big fan of it. So yeah, again, that's off and on. And to me, it's a no-brainer. I think I'm probably going to leave this on for the long haul. Time will tell, of course, but sitting here now, I think having played with all the NVIDIA overlays in the past, having recently played with the new NVIDIA AI vibrancy filters, this one, I think, is the clear winner. Let me know what you think, though, because I'm always keen to hear from you. And, of course, it's not like Reshade is just Reshade. This is Reshade with one profile that I found on flightsim.to, albeit the most popular one, and enabled it. And out of the box, I didn't like it, and I tweaked it, and now I do like it. So this isn't just like a set thing. You know, there's a lot to this. So I'll be really keen to hear from you, hear what your stories are, hear what you're using, what you think, what you like, what you don't like. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope you found this video useful. Until next time, folks, take the very best care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next video. And as always, happy flying.